It's time for the Albion Mag Radio Show. Well, a very good morning. We're live in the 1BTN studios. It's Saturday morning, 11 o'clock. Dean Kilford joined in the studio by Tom Stewart. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Dean. How are you?
I'm all right, mate.
Yeah.
It's a bit close to the wire today, wasn't it?
Little
yeah,
close. It's fine. We're fine.
We're here. We're ready. We're going. No Leon today. He's on his travels. He's up here. He's having a little weekend in Liverpool ahead of the game. Nice for him. Nice for
checking out the what is there to do in Liverpool?
Loads to do in Liverpool.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a music fan.
Yep, Beatles stuff.
All the Beatles stuff, the Cavern and all of that.
Yeah.
It's a nice town, Liverpool.
Yeah, all the docks.
All
I've never been to Liverpool.
It's a good night out.
Cool.
Maybe slightly dangerous, but a good night out. We'll leave there. Of course, if you want to get in touch with the show, at TAM Radio Show on Twitter, Facebook. We've got Tom here he's put up a poll, which we'll get to the result. What's the poll this week, Tom?
Okay, let me just bring it up. Okay, so I guess
it's a hard one this week.
Yeah, in light of last week's win, which we'll get on to, and the week before, and basically all our wins in the Premier League. Would you rather win ugly or lose pretty? At the moment we are well in favour of winning ugly, 98%.
Wow.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think I was thinking on the way here, if we'd asked that question under Gus Poyet, I think the result would have been completely opposite. I think there's been a big change in, priorities from the Brighton fans in that time.
Yeah, I mean,
we're a little bit snobby under Gus Poyet, actually.
I like that. There's a comment. One of the comments saying
I'll read that out.
If you let us know who's by, but until we're safe. I'm happy to win ugly until we're safe,
yes.
And then I want to see it. I'd rather see us lose pretty.
Let's go for it a bit, yeah. And to be fair, there are a few teams down there who will probably finish below us this season, probably play better football than us, but we're pretty good at grinding out those 1-0s.
It's a big change
in
a couple of seasons. But so if you want to try and swing that poll,
it'd be a big ask.
But get involved at TAM Radio Show on Twitter. We've got we've obviously got the news for the week. We've got On Day, our new feature, from the book Brighton and Hove Albion on this day.
Yeah,
simple. We've got a review of the Wolves game. We've got a preview of our trip to Goodison, and of course, under 23s played twice last week. The women picked up their first win in WSL 1, and our non-league roundup. It's a pretty packed show as always.
Brilliant. Sounds great.
Well, let's start with the news because this is. Chris. We're going to start with Chris Hughton. Why not? Cool. Nominated for Manager of the Month again. He's the only. I think he's the only manager with a 100% record in that month.
Yeah.
I think he is.
Must be, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe not well. But anyway, he's got 100% record.
I think he is. I think
definitely puts him in the running.
Yeah.
3 wins from 3.
0 goals conceded in 3 games. 7 shots on target in those 3 games as well. I think it'd be well deserved. He's kind of, those are 3 games where if we're going to be kind of comfortable this season, we need to be getting something out of those 3 games. I remember several weeks ago when we were having games against, Man City and Liverpool, etc. We always said this run of games is the one where we need to be picking up points from, and we got 9 points from 3 games. It's you can't really ask for anything more than that, really.
Well, you can't.
No, literally,
you literally can't ask for anymore. So probably. But it would be his second. He did win. Was it November? Did he win? He won last year, didn't he?
He did win
one last year. Can't remember the month off the top of my head, but I know he's won. So potentially up for a double. But also for player of the month as well, Matty Ryan.
Ryan.
He's had enough shots against him.
Yeah, I mean, again, 3 clean sheets. A huge part of that is Matty Ryan. I think he's up there with goalkeepers in the division. I don't think there's many more better than him, to be honest.
Because still, but he looks surprisingly small. I know he's not, but he does look.
Yeah.
Which I think sometimes as an opposition, forward, you think, I fancy my chances here, but
yeah, I mean,
he's so good. He's so good.
When we signed him, a lot of fans were going, "Oh, hang on, he's 6 foot, isn't he?"
But he's not small at all.
No, that's above average. But for a goalkeeper, I guess it is quite small. but his shot stopping, his command of the area is absolutely brilliant. He's the best goalkeeper I've seen at Brighton, quite comfortably. It'll be well deserved again if he wins that award. There probably have been more. I guess outfield players are more likely to win it, but
generally, normally it's a forward. But be nice to see. But to be nominated, that's nice recognition for the month that we've had, basically. Yeah. Speaking of Matt Ryan, though, linked with a move to the north to Old Trafford.
It's a bit of It's the Daily Mail and the Sun, so slight pinch of salt.
I mean, what are you doing reading those papers to begin with, to be honest?
Well, I like moaning about. No, I don't. I mean, they could do a lot worse if De Gea moves on. I don't know whether they're whether they're talking about replacing.
Well, it's got to be a replacement for De Gea, I guess, because he's not going to sign for. He wouldn't sign for a club as a backup.
No, who is there? I don't even know who their second choice goalie is.
Portuguese. Keeper, isn't it? Forgot off the top of my head. He's good. They've got a good. Yeah, got a good backup.
And they could do a lot worse than Matty Ryan, to be honest. If De Gea is sold, no idea what kind of fee would be involved in that.
Well, Houghton said because Duffy was been linked. He wasn't linked, but Duffy. Houghton mentioned in his press conference yesterday because of Duffy's form. If any clubs wanted to pay, wanted to buy him, they'd have to pay a premium.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So it's going to be high for any of our players if they're going to be poached or.
Yeah, I mean the going rate for a kind of mid-table goalie.
It's about 70 million. Isn't
it, 70 million. Yeah, we'll have that. And we do have a very good young goalkeeper waiting for a chance.
Waiting in the wings for a very long time.
Yeah, very long time. I mean, we can't loan him out forever.
We were only talking about this the other week about Walton. It's like, will he ever get his chance in the first? I mean, I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that there's any truth to the to the speculation, but we can I can't even say the word. Whatever.
It's too early.
We can think ahead and think, play out different scenarios. And maybe, if De Gea moves, Ryan went, then Walton maybe would get his chance.
Yeah, sure. And that is kind of the purpose of these loan spells, isn't it? To kind of get him ready. He's kind of gradually moved up and up and up. And now he's playing every game for I think they're kind of mid-table, aren't they, at the moment, Wigan?
Yeah. They're pushing.
Yeah, pushing players. And as we know very well with the Championship, anything, they could be in the Premier League.
They could be bottom and be pushing for the playoffs coming.
He's very highly regarded there, really well respected, and obviously was a big part of their promotion last season. We're going to have to do something with him at some point, because there's going to be a point where he's going to be like, I need first team football, and I need to be with a
permanent club.
Is that going to be here? No. Okay, I'd like to move then. It's an interesting little dynamic, because as much as we love Matty Ryan, it's also exciting to see young players come through, and that's not going to happen while Ryan's there, because he's not really going to overtake Ryan, really.
No.
Realistically.
I mean, the only thing you could see is if next season he's there to play in the cup competitions, maybe that's the only way you could see the integration happening.
And if he had been here this season, we're missing Ryan for a month, aren't we? And he's playing in the Asia Cup, which is why we signed Button and Steele. That's I don't like to think about that month. I'm already slightly concerned about it.
We'll get to that as we come. So obviously transfer. Duffy, does that worry you that potential clubs, because we were only talking a couple of weeks ago how actually if you mirror season on season we were worse off, and now we're talking on the back of 3 wins in a row. That we're actually we're far and away ahead of last season now.
I mean, both Dunk and Duffy, I know we're kind of focusing on Duffy here, surely they are going to attract interest from other clubs because they're playing so well. I think it'd be, I guess, slightly worrying if they weren't, if they were that bad that no one wanted them.
Because it's a bit early for this transfer. It's like the 1st of November. It's not Christmas time.
No, come on, wait. Yeah, you can't talk about transfers for Christmas.
At least December.
I mean, like I guess as Houghton said, they're going to cost a lot.
Yep.
If a club wants to come in for them.
And I can't see us being in a position where we need to. And I feel like we've got a settled squad. We haven't got a squad of players that
want to leave or anything.
Yeah.
I think I always get the impression with Houghton that players just want to play for him. Yes, we don't necessarily need to sell. So if someone's going to buy him, it needs to come at an obscene offer that we can't turn down. Like I guess with Van Dijk with Southampton, where they kind of pushed that price up and up and up and up. And they got to the point where it's like, yeah, fair enough. That sounds about right.
It's only 70 million or whatever it was they paid for him. Yeah.
I'm not saying Duffy is at the level of Van Dijk, but yeah, it's.
Well, no. To be fair, he's pushed on. He has pushed on there, and but hopefully not. Anyway, we're just speculating about this. The last bit of news: Liam Rosenior, last bit of news, picked up his UEFA Pro license, so he's able to manage anywhere in the world.
I think a lot of people have obviously earmarked him as someone who probably will manage a club at some point. He seems to have that kind of character and drive. It seems to be something he wants to do.
He's a well-spoken man, very smart,
well-spoken. Oh, definitely.
Knows his onions, as they say.
Yeah, knows his onions. And obviously his dad was a decent manager as well, and has probably picked up a few bits and bobs from him.
But do you think it's a case of us nurturing him?
That seems to be what we're doing with him and Sidwell, I guess, to kind of blood them up. It seems, I guess, it's something Houghton's passionate about, and whether or not Rosenior, that happens with us, his first managerial job, but maybe being way down the line, hopefully, or he's nurtured with us and then moves elsewhere. But it seems like Houghton at this stage in his life is wanting to help nurture young coaches, and he's also clearly very passionate about bringing black coaches through the game. That's something he's very clearly very kind of interested and passionate about. It seems good news for us. And he's obviously working with under 23s, and to have a highly qualified coach in that role can only be good for our lads, surely.
That's it.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
To take on his playing experience, obviously, he's going to understand, the game more recently than.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
And we're seeing younger and younger coaches and managers.
How old is he, Rosenior?
Early 30s.
Yeah, he retired relatively young. Yeah. Big future ahead of him. Hopefully. Yeah.
Happy days. Yeah. Right, so that's the news. That's a little bit of Albion related news. We've got to talk about were you there? Did you go last week?
I was working last week.
I thought you were
saving the NHS single-handedly last week.
So obviously the Wolves game, which I've spoken to people that is described as one of the worst wins I've ever seen, painful to watch, but the end result is 3 points and another goal for Murray.
In a day,
which is also, we should celebrate his 100th goal.
Yeah,
which we've
let's start with that. Let's start with that.
Murray's got his 100th goal, which we were talking about, of course, before last week's show. And we are Brighton on Twitter actually are doing a great feature. Basically talking about every goal he scored, which is a fantastic thing.
I think certainly for young fans who perhaps missed his first spell,
definitely
that'd be a good thing to have a read of. I'm hoping the club do some sort of. I'd like to see a kind of compilation of all of his goals. I don't know.
I'm surprised that's wasn't ready to go.
Kind of ready there and then because from memory. Because he has changed quite a bit as a player from his first spell to his second spell.
His first spell, he was just headers from corners and crosses. That's my memory, is that he just put the ball in the box and he'd head it in.
Quite a lot of kind of... He had a bit of a nickname as like a lower league Berbatov, didn't he? But I think that's probably... Cause everyone said he's lazy, didn't they? But he was definitely very classy. Like, I think that's the best word for him. And like quite a composed striker, but he did get injured quite a bit in his first spell, and I think maybe perhaps his second spell is more of a kind of target man, kind of poacher type finishes. I'd love to see a little run through of all of them.
Yeah,
just to completely different eras he's played in.
Just to see how he's changed, and obviously now he's so aware that I mean, his movement for the goal.
Well, he's a magnet, isn't he?
He just he pulled away at the back post to obviously has seen Bruno shoot in training and knew where the ball was going.
Well, if you think of both his goals, so West Ham and Wolves, he's completely unmarked. Basically,
he's found space
8 yards from goal, and you'd think setting up against Brighton, rule number one.
Don't let Murray have space.
don't leave him unmarked in the 8 yards from goal. But he does find those little bits of, and that's a kind of instinct thing, really, isn't it? You can't really teach that, and he's learned little bits over the years, and he probably saw that Bruno was going to completely fluff it. Or Bruno's a very kind of flair player, so maybe that was intentional. I think. I think it's
you're giving, I think, a bit too much credit. There was the other thing about that was I don't know if it was the oldest or the second oldest set up and finish in terms of age.
Bruno and
Murray. I think. I can't remember if it was the oldest. I read it in a week, and I should have taken more note of that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they're the oldest aged.
I wouldn't be surprised because they are obviously quite old. Paul Merson did a very what's the word? He's very complimentary about Bruno. He said something along the lines of, if you're a young fullback, watch Bruno because there's no one in the Premier League.
There's no better fullback than Bruno.
Obviously, he's got his kind of shortcomings, mostly just kind of the toils of age, really. And he's not the quickest, obviously, but in terms of his positioning, the way he works the role, he can't really be faulted, really. And he seems to be kind of have worked his way back into the team again. We seem to just kind of be bringing these guys to kind of help him out, just save his legs a bit, and he always seems to kind of dislodge them.
I wonder how much he'll be able to play this year. I mean, he's a very fit. He looks after himself.
Fit,
I do wonder whether or maybe he just needs to run again, and actually continuously playing will keep him fitter than not playing.
Maybe, yeah. Doesn't want to cramp up.
But I mean, this Wolves came in and they. It's fair to say they had a few chances. Yeah. But there's nothing particularly clear cut.
No, there's the very good save by Ryan, wasn't there?
Yes.
Late on. But we seem to just be quite happy with letting teams do that. I feel like team after team after team are going to come to the Amex thinking, we're going to have most of the ball here. And Brighton are going to kind of be like, fine, we'll get one and try and score against us type thing. And a lot of their fans are moaning after the game about how negative we are and everything, but as the poll shows, our fans aren't really that fussed. We'll quite happily take the 3 points, I think. Well,
it's a tough one, isn't it? Because we've been spoiled in the last. We were spoiled last year, but we've been spoiled for the 2-3 years before, even going back to the Poy era of good football. Yeah. Plenty of goals and nice football to watch, and this is the other side of the coin. This is hello Siri.
Hello Siri.
This is the other side of the coin. This will be new to the newer Brighton fans.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think if you, it reminds me quite a lot of so the first season at the Amex under Poyet, we were playing really great football all season, but we were quite often outmanoeuvred by kind of savvy, kind of gritty teams who would just get that one goal and then 10 men behind the ball and we can break them down. And I feel like we are now playing that role of that kind of savvy, gritty team that will kind of, work hard, be well organised, and it's like, come on, try and break us down. If you can't, we'll keep a clean sheet. It's fine.
When you're saying with the savvy grit, you're talking about a team with Esquerdo, with Knockaert, like they're not what you call gritty.
That's true, yeah.
We've got these, but they're all working hard for the purpose, which is make us solid and hard to break. And
I think ultimately, I think we are the most organised team in the bottom half.
I thought they were going to make a very bold statement there.
Yeah,
we're the most organised team.
We're more organised than Man City, no.
in the bottom half of the Premier League.
And ultimately, I think that's why we're going to be fine this season.
Yeah, I think, our conversation compared to 3 weeks ago, I know things can change very quickly in this league, but we're sitting. It was 8 points clear of the relegation zone. But not. Whereas last year it was a bit nervy. I'm confident that there are at least 3 teams, more than 3 teams that are worse than us this year. Whereas last year you're like, okay, we're in a pack of maybe 5-6 teams that might go down. I'm like, there are 3 teams that are going down well ahead of us. And
there's even variables. There's probably, if one of them improves, then there's also another one that's probably worse. I think there's quite comfortably enough teams that are worse than us that we're pretty all right.
Not looking at it negatively. It's just saying that actually it's not a. There's no fear. I don't fear any danger of relegation, which is probably a bad thing.
Yeah,
because you should feel that.
I'm kind of guarding against complacency really, because I'm feeling really. I feel no anxiety for this season at all. Whereas last season is always looking over your shoulder, studying how the current bottom 3 are doing, who they got next. Can they pick up points here and there? Where are we going to pick up points? Whereas this season, I think we should be picking up points against at least 1 point against most of the teams in the bottom half. Really?
Well, over the course of the season, or just each game?
Yeah, each game. And then I think we've kind of got enough, particularly at home, to be picking up points in the top against teams in the top half. So I think we should kind of I don't want anyone to kind of record this, soundbite it and play it to the end of the season when I've got egg on my face. But
Well, it's funny you should say it, because of course you can listen back to all previous shows on YouTube. We've got most of the past shows. There's a couple missing, which will be up by the end of this week. So if you want to tune in again, listen to our bad predictions, good predictions, whatever it might be.
Throwing back at me,
the Albion Mag radio show. And if you've got any thoughts on this season, whether you feel that we're safe, comfortable, at TM Radio Show on Twitter. We're there, we're live, we'll read out your tweets. I think it's a good time. It's a good time to pause. You're listening to the Albion Mag radio show on 1BTN, available online, DAB digital and 101.4 FM. Dean Kilford and Tom Stewart. Chewing the fat about all things Albion. There was a bit of news we've just we should talk about, because it potentially changes the game as we know it. A leaked report from a German newspaper, was it?
I think so.
About a potential the forms of a potential breakaway European Super League is further advanced than we thought.
And I think I'd be really interested to know how. Maybe we should throw it out as a poll for next week, how Brighton fans feel about this, because it will transform English football, I think, if it does
transform
happen.
World football, or European football anyway.
And I guess it's a case of pulling the drawbridge up. Because one thing, the Champions League is obviously qualifying for it, and I guess what they're aiming for is just to say, you're in, you're not, and that's it.
It's like, well, obviously there's not really any details, but it's whether it is at that close shop. It's like 16, almost like NFL franchise teams.
You have to buy your way in, or
whether, because you'll only see it expanding. Because that's what those kind of leagues tend to do. And would it mean that those teams can't play in domestic football?
Leagues, I feel like the FA at least would probably be highly concerned about it, and would probably say, no, if you're going to join this, you can't be in our domestic competitions as well, and that would have huge knock-on effects. Amount of money in the Premier League would plummet, which some clubs would kind of cope with better than others.
What would that do? Do you imagine taking the let's say theoretically the top 6, as they're known, take them out of the equation? What would make a competitive league, wouldn't it?
Be very competitive.
It would be different.
We're pretty do all right, actually. I think I think we'd kind of be one of the top dogs. I'm all for it.
You're confident. All of a sudden, I like this idea.
It'll be. I think you may well see the likes. And we've just kind of off air. We can list off a few teams that I guess traditionally would have been considered big teams, like Leeds, Villa, Nottingham Forest. Who else is down there?
Derby. Would have been, yeah.
But you might see like a bit of a resurgence of those teams because the top of the Championship and the bottom of what's now the Premier League, the gap is very minimal.
Because the Championship's become so competitive
very strong,
and benefited from teams being relegated with, I suppose, with the parachute payments and lots of funds.
And also, I guess, a lot of Championship clubs are kind of hoovering up a lot of the English talent that's perhaps not getting chances at the top level. It's. I think it would utterly transform, as you said, at least European football.
Especially with the plans of FIFA that with their Club World Cup tournament thing that's been it's been put on the back burner this month, but it's I don't know if it is worrying because obviously we like to see games, but it seems like for all these things to happen that our domestic game would have to go down to something like 10 games a season or something like that to fill it all in.
Dare I say it, a little bit like Scotland. We probably wouldn't have the kind of two dominant teams in the league, but they'd probably be in it, wouldn't they? Celtic and Rangers.
I don't know. Well, it
really depends how they assess it, doesn't it? Are they assessing it on like?
If it's to do with finances, absolutely not.
No,
because that league's got
nothing. But on like size of clubs,
history and so,
it probably would be. But if they're in it, then likes of Aston Villa and Everton and those kind of clubs would probably say, "Hang on a minute, we've won European Cups." It's intriguing.
I think we're definitely going to put that up there. We'll get your opinion. What your feelings would be. We'll put some scenarios up there.
Yeah.
How this could impact us as a club.
It would certainly have a huge impact on the club. Be that positive or negative would be up for debate, really, wouldn't it? Be I think partly we've seen it coming. It's always been kind of talked about, isn't it, as a potential breakaway.
It seemed to go away for a long time. But Arsene Wenger, earlier this season, which you mentioned on the show, mentioned that he wouldn't be surprised to see European football played at the weekends and domestic football played midweek. So maybe although Arsenal have come out and denied anything to do with this breakaway.
Maybe they weren't invited.
Well, maybe. But maybe he knew something that we weren't privy to.
I also wouldn't be surprised to see European football on Saturdays. I think that's probably going to happen.
That would be easier in terms of travel for those teams in Europe. To travel on a weekend for a weekend away.
It'd be a nightmare for a domestic game. I think of constantly having midweek away games at the other end of the country.
That's it.
And definitely we saw in the Championship that attendances, particularly away attendances for midweek games, were significantly lower than for Saturdays. Because how are you going to get from Brighton to Stoke after a game?
Yeah.
It's like
when you finish work at 5 and the game's at 7:45. Yeah, it's not going to happen, is it? Massive knock-on effects. We'll touch on this, I'm sure, in the coming weeks. But speaking of those clubs that, seemingly aren't going to be involved, Everton. That's where we're travelling today. Leon actually is travelling.
He literally is travelling.
Well,
has he travelled?
He's travelled. Yeah, he's having a full weekend away. How dare he? Everton, but Everton are a mixed bag this year. I've been really impressed with them. I was actually impressed with them. I know they lost to Man United on Sunday, but I thought they did enough to get something from that game.
And they are a mixed bag. I think they're certainly very good, better than they were last season, and we were quite poor away at Everton last season. We were in a bit of but anyway, they've definitely got enough to give us a decent beating. But having said that, we went away to their across Stanley Park neighbours who
probably arguably got the best attacking three,
and are better than Everton. Let's face it, and they struggled to break us down. Man City didn't dominate us. They did dominate, but they didn't thrash us.
Yeah,
as they will do to many teams this season. It'd probably be a kind of back to the wall type performance once again. But
with Richarlison and Sigurdsson, those two. They pose the most danger.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I really like Sigurdsson as a player. I think he's excellent. I love us to have that kind of player, the kind of marauding attacking fielder.
But he does control.
Yeah.
And he's going to create a chance. His vision's just, he's a decent player.
We do have, absolute workhorses in that midfield though. So that's a good kind of counterbalance.
He won't get time. He won't get time on the ball.
Yeah.
Richarlison, obviously, he played well against us when he was playing for Watford last.
Yeah.
Interesting to see.
He went to Everton for a lot of money, wasn't it?
50 million.
Yeah, a lot, yeah.
So he's quite young. I didn't realise how young he was. He's 23, 22, 23. What are you worried, or are you thinking that we can continue this run of putting the ball up and nicking a goal?
Yeah, Everton away isn't a kind of game I look at and think we should be getting a result there. It's kind of a game where if we do get something, it's a bit of a bonus in my view. We're definitely capable of getting a point away, Everton, but it will be a hard fought, backs against the wall type performance. We're not going to be going there and kind of swashbuckling type performance.
No, well, I think we're
but based on our last away performance against a significantly poorer team than Everton, we're going to be backs against the wall, trying to edge a sneaky win perhaps, but
edge of sneaky. Yeah. Well, obviously Gross is still out. It's a bit of a long term. They reckon he's going to be back after the international break, but
when is the international break? A couple of weeks?
Is it next week?
Okay,
the week after. I know it's in the next week.
Yeah, they merged together a little bit, didn't
they? He's been we haven't missed him as much as I thought we would do, but you'd still like to see him back.
Oh, definitely. More at home than away. His away form last season wasn't at the level of his home form. We certainly miss him at home, because he links up with the two wingers extremely well. He does that kind of drifting, as a kind of secondary winger on each side because he's 2-footed. But at the same time, I've been quite liking this kind of three wingers thing we've been playing recently. It seems to be working quite well.
You're allowing one of them to have a free rein.
Yeah. It seems, and kind of seems like March is perhaps playing a little bit better in that kind of role. Is that fair to say?
You've said it. So.
Yeah. I'm not sure why Knockout's out of the team.
Yeah. That's been a bit of a strange, but there was a couple of times last season where he, and obviously we found out obviously with the depression and maybe is it the anniversary? Has it been? I'm just wondering whether
it probably is around,
and maybe he's just been given time to get himself mentally ready. I'm just. I've no idea if that's.
Houghton's a very good man manager, and I think he would know what to pick up on in that situation, if that is what's going on. It just surprised me really that he was actually playing quite well, and then he made way for Izquierdo really in the grand scheme of things, rather than March, who perhaps wasn't playing as well. But it seems to be working quite well. The kind of three of them behind Murray. I guess we're not missing Gross that much.
No, it's just
much as I thought it would be.
Yeah. Proper, of course, still out. They hope he's going to be back for the Leicester game.
Okay.
Towards the end of the month, which we should touch upon that actually with Leicester City.
Yep.
Obviously, that it's one of those which just sort of knocks you sideways that you don't. You just don't see. It was a awful, and of course, the Brighton fan that passed away before the game. It was just
Hoddle
like a tragic day of of events really last Saturday, and the thing about it does bring the game and the teams together, and it does. I'm not saying that it's a good, but the good that comes from it is that you see the football community as one.
Oh, definitely, and it's definitely he was certainly very well loved by the kind of locals there. I
didn't realise how much he'd done outside of the club. For the community.
Yeah,
he was.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things you're not.
It wasn't publicised particularly, no. And it's horrible. I can't even imagine what that feels like. If I was a Leicester fan, how I'd feel is it's a horrible situation. I guess we probably do need to say that the helicopter pilot, in a kind of, I guess, final act of bravery, was able to avoid more deaths because he's you've got a very crowded area, and he managed to get
in the one bit that didn't have it.
It's not a positive, but if there is anything that is less negative, I guess that's it.
How the player, obviously they postponed their game against in the Carabao Cup. How will that affect? I don't know how that would affect you as a player.
It seemed from what I've heard, he was very kind of hands-on, and he knew a lot of the players quite well personally. So, I guess on one hand, obviously you're devastated. On another,
does that make you more determined to go and win?
You'd be like, kind of, come on guys, let's kind of do it for him, I guess, because he gave them probably their greatest ever moment, their greatest achievement.
I mean, probably something that we'll never see again in our lifetime. A club.
I don't think so. No. It could well spur them on a bit. They seem like they're a fairly kind of stable club, and Well,
it's a nice touch today. They travelled down today. They laid on breakfast for the away fans, for the coach, and then they've all got, I think, some commemorative T-shirt things to wear at the game. It's going to be emotional down at Cardiff today, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah.
But we should switch around now because we're. It's important for us to talk about, all things football. But we should. We'll go to our prediction for the Everton game. So, obviously, Everton not lost at home to us in the 6 matches in all competitions, with winning 4, drawing 2. That's so Brighton have. Oh, there you go. Brighton have been the trophies just once since 1924.
Cool. Yep.
Yeah, 3-1 back in 1982. One of only 2 in 13.
Okay.
We've lost 6, drawn 5, but obviously not played them many times.
Records are there to be broken.
They are there to be broken.
Yeah, we've not played them. How many times is it? 13.
13 times. Yeah.
That's not a trend.
No, it's ignore it. We'll ignore it. Obviously, last season came in that run where we were struggling, 2-0 defeat. We drew 1-1 at home. I remember Bruno giving away that
penalty. Last minute. Yeah, because we Everton were terrible in that game. It was I think it was when Koeman was the manager, wasn't it?
Yeah,
quite early in the season, and we played pretty well actually. We kind of. Obviously, we scored fairly late on.
It was, we scored with about 10 minutes to go.
This is it. I think that showed perhaps a sense of naivety and immaturity at the top level, to kind of, do something quite stupid. Let's face it, quite late on. And then away, I was trying to remember. I think it was in that run where I think we were essentially safe, Everton, and we had quite a lot of games where it's like, okay, if we get something here, we're definitely safe. And Everton weren't that great last season. But it seemed like we were absolutely terrible there. Yeah. And that was the game the knockout got sent off.
Yes.
It was that game, wasn't it? But hopefully better today, although all the pundits seem to completely...
Jeff Stelling, Paul Merson, Mark Lawrenson, all going 2-0 to Everton.
I'd say that from a neutral's perspective, probably would be quite a safe prediction, I'd say, 2-0 to Everton. At the same time, I reckon the likelihood of us conceding 2 is always relatively low. I know we have done it a couple of times this season, but I think we're more than capable of keeping a team like Everton down to 1 goal at least. I'll be bold and say 1-0, I think.
1-0, it.
Yeah, I don't know why.
We don't have Leon's prediction or Leon's FIFA predictions, Dave, so there's no way we could possibly know how this game's going to go. I have to admit that I think Everton are going to sneak this 1-0.
1-0,
I just think...
okay.
I don't see us creating too much. I think it will be back.
We won't create anything.
And we've scored 3 goals out of 7 shots. I don't necessarily see that trend continuing, but maybe I'm wrong.
It does show a prolific.
We don't moan at these things, but I just think today maybe 1 game too many. Although if we did win today 4 in a row in the top flight would be a record,
that'd
or joint record.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong, but that's just unfortunately. But let us know what you think. We should go onto the poll. Is that what you're doing?
Yes. My phone's been quite slow, but yeah, I will.
Let us know what you think, what your predictions are. We've had our poll. Our poll this week.
The poll's ended.
Win ugly or lose pretty, which fits in nicely. And what's the result?
We've had closer polls. It's 98% in favour of winning ugly.
So there you go.
I think they were closer Soviet era Russian elections.
So 98% would rather win ugly than lose pretty. I get that.
Yeah. I actually completely agree with that. Actually, yeah.
So there we go. Unanimous. We should move on to our women's team, who got their first victory in the Women's Super League 1 on Sunday. Beat bottom of the table Yeovil Town.
An important one as well, because am I right in saying only 1 team goes down?
That's correct, and they're now 4 points off the bottom.
Yeah, really. I think given it's a slight transitional season, staying up is really important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because and we're, I guess, slightly fortunate, and we seem to be slightly better than Yeovil.
We're up to 9th because we're above Everton now. That win, so it's
Obviously, we drew Everton, didn't we?
We drew 3-0 at Everton. Yeah. Obviously the teams that have established in that division have been for years are obviously.
We're very much a newcomer in that, aren't we? So staying up is really important this season. Because I think you can build on that. It's just a case of bedding in a very big upheaval of bringing lots of new players.
That's it. Well, over the course of a year, there's been about 14 new players in the squad. The first team, I looked at the first, and having worked with the club or with the women's team a lot last year, I was like, where's that player? Where's that player? There's still a core of 4 or 5 that have been there throughout, but it is a very the landscape has changed. As they say.
So I watched the end of season DVD from the year we went up.
Okay.
And they had the parade thing they had on Hove Lawns, and they had the women's team out there.
Yeah, well, I was with them.
Right. But I didn't recognise hardly any of them. So it seems like a lot of those have probably been moved on, or kind of they're a bit lower down the pecking order, I guess.
There's been there's been a lot of changes, but they've got a 2-week break now. Next game is on the 18th at home to Reading. So
cool.
2:00 kickoff. If you're planning ahead at Crawley, Broadfield Stadium. Under 23s played twice. Played on last Saturday. That man, he's on fire, and he Connolly got a double. Gilcare has also scored another penalty. We were 3-0 up.
He's very good at penalties, isn't he?
He's very good at penalties.
He scores a lot of penalties.
But 2 late goals made it a little bit nervy to finish.
Yeah, so 3-0. Yeah, 3-0 up. You can't. Because he scored last night as well, didn't he? Aaron Connolly seems to be head and shoulders above that league. Really, it seems to be.
Well, if you're trying to make an impression, at that level, he's doing it. I mean, he's 18. He's playing above his age group. So we should say that, we beat Chelsea, which put us up to third. We're still third, despite losing to top of the table Everton last night. That was at the training grounds, 2-1 defeat. Connolly scoring again in injury time.
Yeah. We hit the bar as well, didn't we, at some point? I was vaguely following it.
Yeah, that Everton... that Everton team are a good team. They are top of the league.
I mean, we're talking about, really well-established, clubs, for that kind of development type area, and we are quite new to that game, really, aren't we? In terms of the facilities and all that kind of stuff, it's obviously we'll always bring through young players. But in terms of being at the elite level, that's very new for us. And the fact that we seem to be one of the best teams in that league now, I think that speaks volumes for
only two defeats in 10 games or 11 games, isn't it?
So all those involved at that level seem to be doing really, really good work. And certainly a lot of those players look really good. And we've got some really good ones out on loan as well. So it's not even that that's it. We've got quite a few out and about that seems to be doing the business as well.
It just remains to be seen, as we've said before, whether they will get their opportunity in the first team. Yeah. Which would be, that's the next step.
Yeah.
You know what time it is now. It's this time. Oh yes, non-league time. The reggae bed.
Reggae bed.
We'll start with Whitehall, because the team that we went to watch on non-league day,
not a great week.
It hasn't been a great week for a long time. They're now 9 games without a win, following a 3-2 defeat in the FA Trophy at home to Harlow Town, which are one of the only teams they've beaten this season in the league, but they're out the FA Trophy. And they also went out the Sussex Senior Cup. They lost 3-0 at home to Eastbourne Town, which was
a bit of an ultras fest, though, wasn't it? Because they're both quite they were a bit of a love in there. But Eastbourne Town have quite a few divisions below, aren't they?
3 divisions below.
Yeah.
So.
Was it a strong Whitehall team? Or
it actually was. They had a reserve keeper. They had a relatively strong team out, because that was my first thought. Was
not a good
not a good week.
Yeah, not good.
Lewis, I should say, they're playing Tonbridge. They're away at Tonbridge Angels today, who are top of the table. So good luck to the Hawks on that one. Because basically they're a point above the relegation zone, and Leatherhead below them have got 4 games in hand. We should Burgess Hill Town, Worthing, played twice because they the FA Trophy, 1-1 draw in the first game. Then Worthing won the replay 2-1.
Okay.
So they're through to the second round. Both very even games. Burgess Hill's 22nd, they're bottom of the table. But their form isn't. It's they've only lost 2 in 7 since the new partnership.
Improving a little bit.
They've got to go to Margate today, trying to get themselves out of the relegation zone, which they could do today with a win. Worthing, they're at home today to Folkestone Invicta. They're at home to today, and then they're at home to
one of my favourite team names.
Folkestone Invicta.
Yeah, brilliant.
They're also at home to Bexhill on Tuesday in the Sussex Senior Cup. They've got a busy November, a minimum of 8 games.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's something about non-league football. They do play a lot of games, don't they?
Yeah, with all the cups as well.
Yeah,
that's
so many cups.
So, they've got a minimum of 8 games. Yeah, it's basically Saturday, Tuesday.
Wow.
So, if you fancy it today, get yourself down to Woodside Road, as it was once known, the Bibby Financial Services Stadium. Worthing are currently 6th, but they've got 2 games in hand. If they won those games in hand, they'd be top.
Yeah. They're having a good time, and we've touched on it before. They've got a lot of potential. Untapped potential, maybe.
Lewis, they won both in the FA Trophy and in the league, so they're up to 3rd.
Yeah.
So
I saw really. I did retweet it. They had the kind of the
Halloween. That was great, wasn't it?
Really good.
They had the druids with sort of fire sticks to welcome the players onto the pitch.
Really cool.
They go all out, didn't they, Lewis? Which we should mention, because we're playing Lewis in the Sussex Senior Cup on Wednesday night. Yes, Wednesday night. We changed the tie to be played at the Dripping Pan at Lewis.
Cool.
That'll be a good one. Good Wednesday night. I'm probably going to be there, if I'm honest. So we'll see Connolly score, maybe. But Lewis are...
if he plays, he'll score.
Yeah, absolutely. But Lewis could go top today. They're only a point off the top spot. Obviously, it depends on the results. Bognor Regis Town, they're through to the next round of the FA Trophy. 2-2 draws meant they went to penalties. They won 3-2, eventually beating Bracknell Town. They travelled to Leatherhead today, and then they're at home to Seaford Town on Tuesday in the Sussex Senior Cup.
Cool.
So, that's
a long away trip.
It's a long away trip. They've got three. So we've got 3 teams in the top 6.
Yeah.
And then 2 around the relegation zone. So, no middling teams.
All to play for. Yeah.
We're all or nothing. We should mention Lancing. They're at home to Lingfield today if you fancy a game. They'll want to put their 10-0 defeat at home to Hayward Heath Town behind them. We won't say any more about that. Shoreham have a Saturday off because they're not in the FA Vars, but they are home to Three Bridges in the Sussex Senior Cup on Tuesday. And last but not least, Saltdean aren't in action today, but they host Hastings United in the Sussex Senior Cup. So it's a big Sussex Senior Cup midweek.
I like the Sussex Senior Cup. It's a good one.
Yeah, especially as we've won it 2 years in a row. Not that it matters, but yeah, it's nice. Don't forget, you can watch all of the best of Sussex football every Monday. The Sussex Football Show is on YouTube. So, get yourselves on there. Log on to search Sussex Football Show. Why not?
Yeah.
There we are. I mean, I might have something to do with it. I might not.
I've heard the presenter is great.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Just a few minutes left before we have to sign out. Obviously, we're not going to be there. We're going to get a first-hand report from Leon next week. Mm-hmm. Where are you feeling now? Because we touched on it earlier that a couple of weeks ago we're talking, and I was actually saying we're probably not as good as we were last year. Now we're obviously in for the better. Where are you feeling? Where are you seeing it?
I think we're in that big kind of pack of middling teams, I guess, aren't we? And it's I'm feeling, as I said earlier, I'm feeling pretty confident about this season, and that we seem to be ahead of the bottom 5, bottom 6 in terms of quality and form. Every season you're going to get one of them that's going to break out and improve, so usually when they sack their manager. I think we look all right, actually, to be honest. We're
all right.
Yeah,
we're all right.
I'm usually a bit pessimistic, but I think I'm an optimist this season. I think
I like it.
Houghton's ground me down into a...
We'll leave the pessimism to Leon when he comes back next week. Well, that's our the end of our show. Another week's down. We're going to leave you with a track from our friends at Jalapeno Records, Gazelle Smith and Dust. But before that, we should say get in touch with us at TAM Radio Show, Facebook, Twitter, and also you can catch all the best of the shows on YouTube. Just search the Albion Mag Radio Show. That's it. I've been Dean.
I've been Tom.
And we'll leave you with this song